All right, here with Gordon Ryan. A couple days before, who's number one? Craig Jones versus Luiz Panza, which is, I mean, that's the first thing we should probably talk about. You were supposed to be the main event here, but you had to pull out, unfortunately, because of your stomach. How you feeling now?
Yes, pretty miserable, as always, but I manage it. So I'm excited that even though I had to pull out, we got Craig in there, and I think it's a really good match. And I think that's a match that people are excited to see because, again, they're both leg lockers. People love to see guys who go out to search for finishes, and I think Panza's going to be going for the finish, and Craig obviously is always going for the finish. So I think that it was kind of sad that I had to pull out, but I think that we found a great replacement in Craig for the match.
Yeah, obviously Panza's somebody who was on your mind because you were preparing for him. How do you think Craig matches up with him stylistically? Do you think it's similar to your match, or?
Yeah, I think it's me and Craig have a pretty similar game. There's some differences here and there, but we both love seated guard and supine guard, going into leg attacks and coming up and either attacking the legs, attacking the back, or sweeping. From top, we both love body lock passing. We both love taking the back. So we have a very similar style. So I think it'll play out almost how it would if it was me fighting Panza.
So your brother's on this one, back-to-back months. He really wanted to get back out there. He beat PJ Barch last month, but he wasn't very happy with the decision victory. I think he really wants a submission. What do you think we can expect out of your brother versus Gabriel Almeida this week?
So I think he's going to be coming to prove that he's better than his last performance. People don't understand, like, Nicki in the gym right now is like my hardest match. Like, to train with Nicki is just the most infuriating and annoying thing ever because he's so much smaller than me, but he's just so good. And if he can just show up on competition day and compete like he trains with me and with everyone else, he's going to just brutalize everybody. So the thing with Nicki is just to get him competing like he trains. He's going against Gabriel Almeida, who's very experienced. He's a lot bigger than Nicki, and he's been just doing this so much longer than him, competing at the highest level. So it'll be great to see how that experience comes into play during the match, because Gabriel's obviously a master of tactics and very, very experienced. And I think Nicki's one of the up and coming guys who can beat anybody in the world just based on his technique, but has to get those tactical nuances added to his game before he can really shine through and demolish the best guys.
So you talked about Nicki's potential. He's still pretty young. He's only 19. It's easy to forget that because he's been competing on pro events since he was like 12. What do you think he's got to do to realize that potential, like you said, to be as good as in the room? Do you think it's just more experience, or?
It's something, I mean, everyone has their way. For me, it was competing a lot. And I've been telling Nicki this for years, that he has to compete more, because when I think about it, I always wanted to try to learn how to compete. So that way, when I'm fighting the best guys in the world, I already know how to compete, and I'm just focused on beating those guys. Where I find that Nicki has a very low number of matches for a guy who's a black belt already. So he's been competing for a long time, but his matches have been very spaced out. So I feel like Nicki's still learning how to compete. Learning, you're on a stage is different, the pressure is different, the anxiety is different. And the tactics, everything's different when you compete. It's not the same as training. And Nicki doesn't have that much competition experience. So I think just competing more for Nicki, and now I think he started to realize it after his last match. I think that, he knows inside that he should have beaten PJ a lot easier than he did. And I think that he's starting to realize now that, okay, I need to be more active. I need to just get out there and just be comfortable competing. Because the last thing you want is to be on the biggest stages and you're still trying to figure out, like, how to play tactical game if you have to. Like, if I didn't start studying tactics, like, I had very close matches with a lot of guys. Leandro Lowe was one of them. Patrick Gaudio was another one of them. Like, if I didn't study tactics, I definitely would have lost matches like the Gaudio match, where I just would have got beaten in the last 30 seconds by an advantage, and I just wouldn't know how to score. So it's very different competing than it is in the training room when your only goal is just to submit the guy.
So you're teaching a seminar Thursday night here at 7. Still a few spots available for that. You're a very methodical teacher. I saw it last time. What kind of system are you going to cover this time?
So last time we did systematically attack. We did attacking from top pins, mount. I'm thinking about instructional names. We did attacking from mount last time. So this time we're going to do attacks from side control. I'm looking to set up various triangles, kimuras, back tacks, things like that. So we're going to be looking at a deliberate way of peeling limbs away from the body, and controlling and then leading into various forms of submissions.
So you're going to be stepping into the commentary booth this time for the main and the co-main. Are you looking forward to that? And what are you thinking about doing commentary on the event?
Yeah, I mean, I've done commentary before. I love commentary. I think, people enjoy it because I kind of speak my mind. Like, if I see a great move, I'm like, oh, that was great. If I see something that was terrible, I was like, wow, that was terrible, and they should have done this. So I tend to think of my commentary as educational. Like, okay, if someone did something and they screwed a move up, like, okay, what could they have done better? And I try to explain that, like, kind of like Joe Rogan does on UFC, like, oh, he needs to do this, this, and that. So I think people enjoyed it. I've done 2 or 3 commentary for events in the last couple of years, so I think people are enjoy the commentary.
So we have, I think, 4 DDS people on here, right? With Damien, Taza, Nicki, and Craig. Is that the whole squad?
I believe so, yeah.
Besides those guys, is there any other athletes on this card that you're looking forward to see compete? Anything you're looking forward to?
I mean, everybody on this event. I'm excited for Hinger versus Wagner, just because I just think that Wagner's going to beat him pretty easily, and I like to see Hinger lose. So that's what I'm excited for. You have a pretty interesting female matchup. You have Jessica Khan and Patty. They fought before. I'm pretty sure Patty submitted her in an EBI, but Jess has gotten a lot better. Patty's gotten a lot better. So that'll be an interesting matchup with the females. Where you have kind of an older school in athlete in Patty. She's been competing at black belt world level for a long time now, and someone who's coming up very young, Jessica Khan. I remember when I was like 18, like Jessa was like, I don't know, 12 or 13. She used to like come to my seminars, and she's like kind of my brother's generation, and Patty's like kind of from Gary's generation. So there's a big gap in experience there, but they're both world-class athletes, and I'm excited for that. Craig and Panza obviously is going to be a big one. I'm excited for Damien to get out and compete because Damien doesn't compete as much as he should, I think. I've been telling him to compete more. So him being on a big stage like this, I think is great for him at this point in his career. And what else can I say?
What about Mikey? Mikey, we saw make his return to Nogi last time. He got a little bit tougher of an opponent. What do you think people could expect out of Mikey this time around?
Mikey's very good. People associate him mostly with the gi because he's a 3-time world champion in the gi.
Yes.
And he's also a no-gi world champion. So it's going to be interesting to see him. I'm actually more excited to see Mikey in the ADCC rules for the road to ADCC. If he decides to compete in that, because that's something that you haven't seen him do. He's very good at IBJJF rules, but he hasn't competed in an ADCC rule set that I know of. So if he hops in that event and he does that, I'm excited to see him compete under an ADCC rule set. We've seen him IBJJF, we've seen him sub only, so it'll be interesting to see him, both, again, here no-gi and submission only format, because it's rare that he does that, but also in an ADCC rule set as well.
What do you know about this kid? Somebody that people are really excited for is this kid, Mika Galvao, that's 17-year-old that's on the prelim. Do you know about this guy?
Yeah, I've known about him for a couple years now. I don't know an extraordinary amount about him, but I know that he was like killing everyone through his teenage years, and then I remember he fought a Russian guy, I think, and he got finished, and then that was like the one kind of hiccup he had. But ever since then, I mean, he's been killing it all through his teenage years, and then ever since that one loss, he's been killing it. So I mean, I think he's been like close to undefeated for like the last like 5 or 10 years, and he's been killing it at the teenage level, and now he just won Pan's no-gi at brown belt. So I'm excited. I watched some of the clips. He's like submitting guys left and right. So yeah, that's what I like to see. So I'm excited to see him go out and compete because he's a guy who chases finishes. The new generation of jiu-jitsu, I think, is going to be a lot better than even my generation or the generation before me. So I think that I like watching all the new guys come up. Damien, Taza, Nicki, the Tackets. I love all Mika. I love the new generation of grapplers. It's something that I really enjoy watching.
Yeah, he's got another. I mean, a lot of people seem to be favoring Mika, but I mean, Andrew Tackett's no joke. The guy he's going against. This should be a crazy match, right?
Yeah, I think rightfully so. Mika's the favorite because he's just been crushing everyone for like years and years and years. Whereas Andrew has like some kind of ups and downs. But it's hard to deal with Andrew's pace. Andrew can put a lot of pressure on guys, both from top and bottom, but so can Micah. So it's gonna be an interesting battle, and I think it's gonna be not a very tactical battle, but I think it's gonna be, you know, kind of a head-to-head. Like, you're gonna see a lot of action in that match. So I'm definitely excited for that one.
All right, Gordon. Of course, everybody would rather have you back out there competing. We're looking forward to you getting recovered and getting out there. But for now, we'll take you for commentary and seminars. Thanks, man.
Eventually.